Hello everyone, I'm Mark Sage, and again it's time to make a basic presentation for documentation or for just basic illustration of the progress of the artwork. So here's the dog model, his name Tony, and first of all we have to have some kind of a ground that can receive some shadows. It helps a lot to understand how the figure is positioned in the 3D space. So I will create a basic cylinder practically, pressing S to enable the snap, and start dragging. And I'm pressing S again because I don't need snap anymore, only just for centering this object. And left mouse click released, and click and right click because I don't want to create any more cylinders. Function key 4, and now we have many things visible. Now, because it's not the first cylinder I made, what you can see is this is a default. So we have 18 sides and 5 segments on a height. But usually it creates this blocky look. So if you don't like it, make sure that you don't need that much of a segments. Cap segments could be useful, especially if you want to chamfer or fillet these edges. And this is my next step. And of course the size is relatively low, so I'll set it to 32. It's even that, 64. Please remember, the bigger this cylinder is, the more sides you need to create. Alright, now we can add an edit poly, and go to edges, or if you press number 2, it will land you on subobject level 2. And here we go. We need to use Alt L, or you can use the loop button. And excuse me for the color because it's the red selection color blending in a little bit better. And so I switch the base color and right click, and we have chamfer with the settings. So why do we care about this? Because we have now a better control in adjusting these. And if we are increasing the number of segments, then it will be a more rounded platform. Alright, here we go. Let me press function key 4 and check it. It's nice and smooth. Okay, so this will be the platform. Now there is this grid that is a foundational element of the perspective viewport. And when you are creating these images, these screen grabs, usually it's the best idea if you press P and make sure that you are in perspective viewport. So it's not like front. Of course you can use front as if you wish, but it's not that viewport. So let me go back to perspective and press G to turn off the grid. It's a toggle, so you can turn it up, back and forth. Alright, so once you have it, we can actually set the rendering. So the rendering type is now standard. This is the viewport render, okay? It's not a rendering calculation. This is basically performed by the graphics card itself. So I will shift to high quality, and now we have some shadows going on. The materials are much more believable. Alright, so to save this, before we actually can save it, it's a good idea to hide this cube away. Not a big deal if you don't hide it, but it's just better in overall. We can go to this plus sign, configure viewports, and we have this ViewCube, and you can turn on and off show ViewCube. Okay, if the ViewCube is visible, actually you can just click on the viewport on the ViewCube and configure, and it will land you on this very same settings. But once you have it disappeared, and you made it gone, it's not that easy to get it. Alright, let me turn this off and hit OK. So this is the viewport. To save it, export it, you can go up here to Tools, Preview, grab Viewport, Capture Still Image. And we have a naming label that appears in the bottom right corner. So you can tell that's Tony and IMG, like image 001. This is the most telling image, usually the best for opening your scenes. So here we go, grab and now the image is there. So this is Tony and image 001. Okay, to save this, actually just have to go to the floppy disk icon, the save icon, and we will save it to Tony and image and 001, and it will be a JPEG. I use the tab button, but you can click in here and press JPEG. And don't forget something that you need to keep in mind: when you hit save and this JPEG image control comes up, you may find that this is not cranked up to the maximum level. It's a good idea to have it cranked up because usually images generated from 3dsmax are not that big in size anyway. So big size, it's better for presentation purposes here. And this is a screenshot anyway, so this is not a large image by default. Okay, let me hit OK, and now we have one image already saved. Okay, now how to deal with other things. For example, how to deal with colors if you want to change a few things, materials, or something that you're looking for. What you can do is you can open up Material Editor, press M, and when you have it, now this material is already assigned to Tony. What I can do is, for example, here's the platform. Here's a blank sphere. This is a physical material. This is a 0.2. This is 0.3. So these are just going, basically these are all the same materials, no settings at all. So I can drag and drop it onto this platform and it becomes shiny. Shadows are a little bit better. Now we have a better blend. So if you see the previous one, or just dial back the video, you can see the shadows are looking different. More than that, we have the setting here, finishes. If you scroll it down, you can choose glossy, satin, matte paint, varnish paint, or concrete, for example. If you choosing some of the materials, you may experience that it comes with textures. Some cases it's good, sometimes it's not. I will set this to a kind of a varnish paint to have a mild reflection, not much. And the color should be something else, a little more like neutral color. I don't want this to pop that much, but the main focus is on the shadows. Okay, Tony should be a little bit different in color. I don't think we need any kind of a highlight like a glossiness, but it is good as it is there. And maybe a little bit brownish, a little bit darker. Okay, I'm looking for the shapes. Now it's fair enough. All right, and of course, if we wish, we can even change the eyes and make it. Those could be shiny, like glossy paint, but with a little bit of a darker tint. Okay, excuse me. All right, so that's it basically. That's a little bit greenish, maybe a little bit more to the dark brown side is a little bit better. Okay, so this is one way to fine-tune the overall look. And of course, we can go to Tools, Preview Grab, Capture Still, and we can save it to Tony and image 002. So now we have two images. It's actually from the same viewport, but it's up to you, just giving you ideas how to make it more interesting. Okay, what else is required or could be beneficial to save is a wireframe. Now, how that happens? So select the model, and if you have turbo smooth on, please turn off the visibility. We have symmetry as well, but honestly, we want to keep it symmetrical, so I will keep it as it is. And this is one good way to make a grab. I can actually zoom in and show some details a little bit better. So here, what you need to know that we have a wire color and we have a color that's coming from the material. So to make this appear a little bit better, I will select this guy and change the base color. So this will be a little bit brighter, like the strong purple color. and now we have this popping wireframe that can help a lot to read the wireframe structure. Alright, now maybe from the side, this is a pretty telling viewport, so I can go and again tools, preview grab, capture still image, and we have this new image. Okay, I skipped naming it, but it's as an option, you can always do that. Alright, so practically that's how you do, and of course if you have a sketch or a reference you have used, it's a good idea to include that. Now if you're saving a file for documentation or for presentation in any time in the future, it's a good idea to have pictures attached to the file, because it's much easier to open up the JPEG files and check what's going on instead of opening up the 3D software, loading the file, facing compatibility issues, or accidentally overwriting a file that's an old one. So it's a good idea to have picture references and documentation next to your file all the time. Alright, thank you. I hope it will help. See you next time. Goodbye.